you know, the PSG games. You know, they dealt with the World Cup Championship, and they were thought, wow, is this going to be, you know, the new dawn of Chelsea? And PSG went, no, we're the new dawn, very much. And I still make them favourites, PSG, for the Champions League when I see it in the league.
So they are certainly quite good.
Yeah, and you know, they're all, you know, the French. When you look at it, we obviously had England international this week, announced the qualifying games or whatever it was. When you look at France's squad, well, I think it's better house. They're the team to beat.
Absolutely, indeed. As I said, David Moyes is Everton. What a season, isn't it?
Yeah, they're right in the game for Europe. Got great opportunities. And you know, when you look at their league position, I know it's really, really tight. You can go all the way down to Bournemouth and Arsenal as a one game. But if they're the one from Miller's going to play with and sit, but they're now sit 13th. So, you know, 3 points can be taken up at 4 or 5 places at the moment. It's an incredible league. So, we'll see how that all pans out.
Absolutely, but you've got to say Everton are really finishing the season strong, aren't they?
And then Dye is, you know, when you look at Fernandes at United, Gabriel, and Dye at Everton, I think he's in that group of players where you're considering player of the season. That's how good he is.
He has been that good.
Yeah.
Fair play to David Moyes and Everton. Brighton 2, Liverpool 1. It doesn't get any better for Liverpool, does it? But Danny Welbeck, double a brace for Liverpool lose for the 10th time in the Premier League this season.
I've always loved that term, roll back the years.
Yeah.
Roll back the years.
He has rolled back the years, Danny. Well, he's been superb this season, which begs the question, is he up for England?
Well, I still think that Calvin Lewis, who hasn't scored for about 5 or 6 games, for me is still the one. The reason I say I think he's still the one to take to back up Harry Kane, because I think all around his technical game that he gives us another option in the air. There's no one better than him in the air. Danny Welbeck is not at the same level in the air, I don't think, as Calvin Lewis. So I still think Calvin Lewis is the favourite, but Welbeck is knocking on the door. He keeps knocking on the door, and that's all you can do as a footballer. Now who knows? You know, Harry Kane could well get it, couldn't he? And then Danny Welbeck, I'm pretty sure will get a nod.
Yeah, I think he's been that crucial, but he deserves it. Your team, before Fulham.
The Lions game.
It was a good game. It was 50 above the station. Fulham ended up 3 goals to the good and only 1. And of course, Rangnick scored the first of the goal. I think it was playing far away. Something far too less football for but all of it is you should see how much more. Yeah,
I love that, you know, that's not what we do. He's like a bird with a move to Man City. You know, he's going from Wolves to Man City, a massive move. You know, he's right at the height of his career. And he's a terrible injury. He's come back now, really kind of juked himself just for that. They love him down there. He's a really lovable guy. So when he did score, getting that penalty in the third, you know, in the last sort of 95th minute or whatever it was a lovely moment. You could see how close the other players were to him, and it was a nice moment between him and Silva actually, which I thought was a nice poignant moment for the manager and his striker. So that was nice. But Harry Wilson, just want to touch on him because what a season he's had. His 10th goal, or maybe his 11th goal. I don't know, it must be like 18 points he's gone for. He keeps getting winning goals. Like yesterday, it wasn't the winning goal, but the second goal was probably the winning goal. Because they didn't like coming back from it with Burnley. Great goal, opened the goal up to him, that left foot. You are Arsenal goal. Let me tell you, any defender who's out there, who's listening in the Premier League, do not let Harry get on his left foot. There you go. Tip.
You know, this is why Premier League for me, why you're Fulham. You know, doing so well, Everton, Harris, etc. There's so many good players throughout the league. You know, they're not just that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But across the league, you look at how he's good.
Yeah. I mean, I was at Birmingham for Friday night, and that Croupier come on. Wow, what player! Another French international, by the way. You know, you're like, wow, where did they get him from? Yeah. Reina, the boy that spent a lot of money on coming from Brazil, who got his call up this year, this term for Brazil. looked on a few film fans that I know and that I was talking to in the press room, etc., etc. You know, they're getting a little bit frustrated that he hasn't committed to the club. You know, when you feel like, because it's always a twofold thing with a football manager. We'll give you the option, when you've come and you've done well, we've backed you, we'll give you the players, now we're reward. The manager's point of view is I've done brilliant for you, and now my options are open. You know, so it's a completely different course. What I do know is that there is a contract on the table for it. I think it's been agreed roughly what the finances are. I don't think they're falling out over the finances, but he hasn't signed it to keep his options open. But he has got a history of that, Silva, and I think he will keep his options open all the way to the end. But it's slightly disturbing for the players, but you could say slightly unsettling. You know, Cookie, being Cookie, this is our chief correspondent and a bright person, was sort of, you know, instigating. I mean, is it affecting the team because they were that bad in the first half? Yeah. But they were really good for 60 minutes. I don't think that is the case, but, you know, it's something that you want to get resolved as quick as you can.
Right, still to come before we bust the back into the brilliant Danny Kelly on the Trans-Europe Express. We will reveal a little bit of it. And we've got the WhatsApp voice now. We've got loads of stuff. And we're cramming in before 10 p.m. It's past our bedtime.
With BetMGM Casino, every time you open the app, it's like a warm Vegas welcome. BetMGM Casino is the UK's only online casino with real Vegas roots. And every time you play your favorite games, it's like hitting the Las Vegas Strip with your fingertips. And the warmest welcome of all, play £10, get 200 free spins. BetMGM Casino. If it ain't us, it ain't Vegas. Verify at BetMGM.co.uk. Minimum 10 plus 18. Season apply. 18 plus. Please handle responsibly.
There's the part you enjoy, the part that follows you home. But what if it didn't? What if the drawings, photos, RFIs and reports were already sorted before you left the construction site? So when you do, you're done. Trimble Project Site. Unified projects and site management in your hands. No chasing, no retyping, no evening out. Take your time with it. Search Project Site. Trimble Project Site. Yeah. Is in construction. Supposed to be anywhere. You could be paying too much tax. Jack's Forever shelling out his own cash to travel between sites or buying tools. Yeah. So he may be owed money by HMRC. Rift tax refunds help people get the money back. On average, over £3,000 back. Get the ball rolling. Search Rift tax refunds. Search Rift tax refunds today. I remember holding her for the first time. Now, I'm about to walk her down the aisle.
Moments like these deserve to be seen clearly. With the Vision Express Eye Care Plan, get 2 pairs from £5.70 a month, including 20% off and an advanced eye test. Vision Express. Step out with confidence. T&Cs apply. Interest-free loan subject to status. VE is a credit broker not a lender, representing Adara Optics Limited, authorised by the Financial Conduct Authority. Minimum 24 months terms.
Welcome to Paris Pizzeria. Your blind date is already at the table, and here she is. Cousin Brenda, what are you doing here? You're married anyway. Substitution brought to you by Vanita. Cousin Brenda, motor for birth, the office brush. Oh, get it. You might not always pick the right starter, but your son can still deliver. Because with Paddy's Super Sub, your bet rolls over to the player coming on. Paddy Power. Dependent on selected leads and
mystery footballer, Mr. Alan Pardew.
Well, I do believe it's Tony.
Adams.
No, not Tony Adams.
It is Tony Adams.
Is that the Adams?
It is Tony Adams, of course, because the clues were someone was just shouting about it. Tony Hadley, is his name. He's an Arsenal fan, Tony Hadley, big Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
And
He
gold.
was very, very upset today, Tony.
Gold because Tony Adams won the numerous trophies. Apparently Chris Martin is an Arsenal fan. I didn't know that, you know. I did not know that. That makes me dislike culture. And Song 3 Sister Sledge, strange dancer because of Tony Adams' appearance on Strictly Come Dancing, which was rather pretty cool.
What's Tony's rehabilitation company called? What is that? Why is it? Yeah. No, he's got he's set up. Yeah, to help like players who are struggling, etc. But I was thinking, so not going to get on. Always work. So he's still going on there. Still doing some excellent work. So well done, Tony.
Well done indeed.
Yeah, find out money, so we'll do it again.
And well done to any of those that got that right. And talking of Arsenal legends, Ray Parlour and the Manchester City joined the Football Record Set tomorrow. That should be interesting listening. Because
in the schedule for a week.
and also, I tell you what did it was the food and throwing between Martin Keown and Simon George. I think the Manchester City involved with their apparently being an agenda against Arsenal. Simon George is not having it one bit, which is interesting. So we'll see tomorrow. Martin Keown and I think people are dwelling in, if Arsenal fail, they dwell in it and they try to take great joy in it. As we've done tonight, we've been very, very fair indeed. So, Martin, who wants to show that over?
Well, there's no, I know you want to start thinking about there's an agenda against the football club. And we had that with the officials, didn't we? The officials have got an agenda against this particular club and, the FA.
I think if you actually looked at it with a bit of perspective, we all probably feel like it. And just things that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And again, with Arsenal, because they are such a big club and a successful club, the bigger they come, the harder they fall. People do want, especially in this country, they want people to fall.
And I would say this is that, after working in the groups, particularly as a Christmas for 7 months, two massive decisions against Man United. Two massive decisions. The reverse of things. I know that Man United will complain about it. Quite rightly so, because I think they've got a pace. They look almost identical. They both went against Man United. And yet, that probably wouldn't happen in many countries. Like the ball of getting those. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's where you can see the integrity of this league.
Don't forget, that's the Full Sport Breakfast Show tomorrow. Ray Parlour and the Manchester City will be on.
I like the Manchester City, by the way.
Yeah, he handed these a great player. He handed my son his trophy at Butlins.
Did he? Butlins?
Yeah.
Did he?
He did indeed.
Ah.
Breaking news for Pars. England's Matt Fitzpatrick birdies the final hole to win the landslide championship.
No, well played with it. Because he lost last week on the final hole. So he's advanced. Well taken. I'll tell you what, you've got a little, I don't know, if you're a little fire spare, if you've got a little fire spare, he's well suited to the Masters in terms of his playing. Yeah, I think we've got a good
He was successful in the great account. He managed to go to the airport on 17, very good. We're still the cup, well done.
Well, we're still in every cup is so good. I still remember the cup when I was in the cup when I was 600.
So we managed to be eliminated second for winning 22. It came back. Bring back. So WhatsApp voice notes have been fantastic. And this week you've got to put them together. So up first, we have a very excellent Friday night.
No magic price, no big down Spurs. I've been hurting since last season. It's good. Still not going to be a good next season. You just pick them out of the space. So, you know, over the support,
It's a very good night. His final competition is the one that has us to be where we are today, and I think it would be incredible and fair because he hasn't given any signs of changes and he will actually to play.
to panic buy at the pumps with the government insisting there are no plans for limit fuel sales. And Health Secretary Wes Streeting has praised what he calls Herculean efforts to protect people from the meningitis outbreak in Canterbury.
Talksport weather with Quickfit. Spreading forwards with Bridgestone Taranta all season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Look today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Briefly down the flight, Q1 continues to move southeast with pronounced clear spells either side. Some dusting showers affecting the far north is the chilling out.
On YouTube, on the Talksport app, Trans Euro Express. The world's favourite European football program. Simply wunderbar from the Bundesliga to the Dutch First Division. Stuttgart from the heart across the northern plains. Trans Euro Express. Express.
To your weekly Sunday night fix of European football from all over the world, really. Europe and the rest of the world. I'm Danny Kelly, and sponsoring one still here in just a little while with me for the next 3 hours. I'm delighted to say 3 hours and 10 through to 1 o'clock in the morning. Andy Brassell. We've got all the big stories across the continent. Champions League will review after those English clubs got a sensational battle from pillar to post, from P to P. We also review what happened in the Europa League and the Conference League. Jacobs will join us to talk about the past of the AFCON winners being changed 2 months after the event. Tim will join us, Tim Vickers from South America, of course, and we'll focus on the upcoming World Cup playoffs, several European ones that are this week. Huge games for Wales, Ireland and others. All that's coming up on Trans Europe Express with me, Danny Kelly, him, Andy Brassell, and you, the listening millions. Welcome one, welcome all. Yeah, Andy, how are you? Well, good, Danny, how are you doing? Good, let me just say a few words. People might be surprised to hear my voice after my announcement of Wednesday, how I feel I am. But, I think this will present everybody get the message across. I don't start talking until early next week. And I'll be able to, let's talk to Frankie, I'll be getting chemotherapy, and we'll see how I progress through that and beyond. And we'll see the weeks when I feel fit enough to come on board, yes, I will, the stage will be really good about that, and at other times, somebody else will fill in for me. That's the first thing. And here on Trans Europe Express, you have no need to worry. The weeks I won't be here, Kevin Hanshaw, the great Kevin Hanshaw will sing, and Kevin and Andy will show you what the show could really be like without the sideline. And you'll learn from Kevin all about European football and Star Wars. Now, a children's film, which he's still interested in his late 40s. And the other thing I want to say, because I have the platform to give me a big microphone, is I have been absolutely, to use the cliche, inundated with well wishes from every part of my life, across the whole half a century, and lots and lots and lots of people saying that they enjoy Trans Europe Express and wishing me all the best. And I know that traditionally, as folks say here, I've been overwhelmed. I haven't been overwhelmed, I've been absolutely delighted. Keep them coming. My emails will have all the praise and good wishes that you wish to send my way, in all seriousness. If you are a prayer, if you are a positive thinker, send them my way, and I'll do the best to make sure that Ed and I are still doing this into the foreseeable future. Right, that's enough about me, because it's time now for this. Because of the stylistic difference over the last 15 years between the two, well, always, but Atletico have been much more offensive, the stylistic difference between the team, I actually prefer the Madrid derby to the Clasico. And tonight I wasn't let down. A brilliant game.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because you don't really expect this kind of game from them because Atletico were the defensive relapses first, but then Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane thought, we'll do that as well. And in fact, we'll do it better with higher spec players. And you had this wonderful spell of Diego Simeone looking wistfully over Madrid going, oh yeah, that could be me. That could be any boring my way to the Champions League titles. And funnily enough, they were not more like each other than people would like to admit. I agree. I think that makes this derby really, really special. But of course, as we saw with Atletico the week at first hand, we went back to the City. Yeah. The only Simeone would like them to be a great defensive team, but not quite sure they are anymore. And this was a really exciting game. And again, ironically talking about the title of this section, which is a very well-established section of Transit Express, the eponymous farm has had very little to do with all the issues we could discuss this video.
Yeah, because Real have done what they've done. They've won the derby, which with the initial score by 3 goals to 2. It's up and down to 10 men for a third of the game. And of course, Andrew, when they will match the City over in the Champions League, largely without killing them back now. Let's talk about the Champions League tie. No remontada for City after that disastrous first leg.
No, and even though they gave it a good go, they never really felt close to it, I didn't think. And they were way too open to make it a possibility, even if Bernardo Silva had stayed on the pitch. And obviously, the reason it went off was due to them being massively stretched at the back and going with it from the absolute off. Whereas, I mean, it should be clear, and we've had a lot of practice seeing teams take a whole lot of different approaches in terms of mentality and competence in approaching a 3-goal deficit in the Champions League this week. And Manchester City's one, that always seemed fatally flawed to me. And looking at our sort of the club was just exactly that. Bear in mind, we might be having a completely different discussion on it. Had Federico Valverde, who was the Mbappe of the first leg, if you like, look at this, the glorious chance in the best way in second to the
City, I don't know, we've seen all these English teams and Atalanta struggle manfully with these gigantic first leg deficits, and none of them found a way really to get back into the ties. So I'm not going to go to City here, but Madrid did what they did. Then tell us how they came to win the derby 3-2 tonight, Andy, and then we'll talk about the reaction of all this to Madrid media favourite Arbeloa. Tell us about the derby first.
It is interesting. Look, this was a really great game. Real Madrid had a lot of the first half, but went a goal down from. We're talking about Atletico moving away from what they were. A beautifully put together goal where it was Juliano Simeone's back heel to Ademola Lookman to put them in front in his first Madrid derby in La Liga. Then Real Madrid turned around with 2 goals right in the second half. They did a junior penalty with what week he's had. He's this week's Mbappe, whereas Federico Valverde was last week's Mbappe. And then a really bad error from Jose Jimenez. Just as he made that really bad error against Spurs in the week to give Xavi Simons the chance to score a goal from the penalty spot. Banging the clearance really, really carelessly into Valverde, putting back in front. Then Mauro Molina, who scored that brilliant goal going back a week and a bit against Getafe. Just did the same down at the Bernabeu this time. And then Junior scored the sort of goal that he used to score all the time to win the game. Valverde got set off late on, loads of pressure from Atletico. Julian Alvarez hit the post from absolutely miles out. It was alive to the end, but I think Real Madrid just about deserved it. But you know what? In terms of who needed it most, there was no doubt. Because we know where Atletico finished. We're not going to win the league, but they are going to end up back in the Champions League. So this really was just the local pride in the sport for them.
Yeah, we were at the Spurs Stadium during the weekend we called the game. Look, there are lots of things to say about it. But another game we'll get on to Champions League, but for you it must be a particular pleasure because Spurs play, I suppose they play for a long watching the veteran phase of Antoine Griezmann's career, or Antoine Griezmann, as you're going to call him. What a journey, what a game he had. Very deep, Andy, and quarterback in Atletico Madrid. I thought it was amazingly good.
Yeah, it was brilliant how he could be two completely different players in those two separate legs. And he is still a joy to watch. He's fantastic. And I kind of wonder when he goes in the summer, and I would love to see him win a trophy or two before he does leave. It feels as if the last bit of Simeone-ness will go with him. And we kind of assume that would always be Coco, really. Now, Coco's had a really interesting career revival this season. But Griezmann is actually the guy, even more than Simeone Jr., who embodies Simeone on the pitch. You know, someone who works so incredibly hard. Put McLaren asked him on French telly at the end of the game. He said, why do you still want to do that way? And I thought that was a great question. And Griezmann always felt as well. Just part of the game. Player another way.
So with my Spurs glasses off, I thought he was terrific. Everyone goes on about the flick to under the goals, but everything else he did was like watching somebody almost, it was like dream football, but it was like the opposition that had no influence over him, and he just did what he wanted to do. Really, really good.
I think it was he could probably make all of his dreams come true to construct the stuff from one of us. So
that's very fair as well. Listen, we want to talk about the fact that the Madrid media now, in their shameless way to do, now Madrid had a couple of decent results, and now breathing furiously against Xabi Alonso. But what we really want to talk about, Andy, is the England World Cup camp squads, which do not contain Trent Alexander-Arnold, who after his injury problems is now very much, we start to sub today, but is very much part of the Real Madrid team that's, picking its way cautiously towards the Champions League final, still very much in the running for the title in Spain. And I said to Mrs. Kelly, who's not a betting person, I said, tell you what, if you were a betting person, I would tell you to put some money on England for the World Cup. So if they've got 30 better outfield players than Trent Alexander-Arnold, they must be a hell of a team. They really must. Is Tuchel taking a huge risk here, Andy? And I don't mean with the team, because he obviously thinks, that each game, who's fit, or Livramento, who's fit, can do better. But if England don't do well, the accusation will be when you let some of your best players off the plane.
Well, I mean, there's an interesting suffix to both Reece James and Livramento that brought up there. Not only that England
Good players, of course, really good players.
Exactly, they are. But not only that England have a top-quality right back, but a lot of top-quality right backs with difficulties and influence. We're seeing Reece James go down again this week. I was saying to you earlier, it is a shame, but it's the reality of Reece James. I think that's what you're talking about in the top player, that the top-quality players. So, I think two guys like we've seen it a little bit with the German, I was saying this to you earlier, with Julian Nagelsmann, who was asked about not including Angelo Stuller in his team.
The best six in the country, you could definitely argue.
Yeah, you could. And destined for the very, very top, I think, when he was Stuttgart. And he said, well, look, Stuller's not in my 11, so I decided to try out other players in this big squad. And then, of course, it becomes clear that Alexander Pavlovich, who might be a starter, the Bayern Munich is doing that, maybe alongside the director, we'll have to wait and see, isn't fit for his game, so he's put up his step. And after making a massive great deal of it, basically saying that he doesn't rate it, which is just a ridiculous position to put yourself in. Sometimes you've got to say less.
Yes, you have to say unlike Cole, but we know what to say. Listen, thank you very much, Andy. Let's go on to Real Madrid. Now, the AFCON story, look, we've been looking at bits and pieces. Let's get it all back together again. Let's discuss what has happened, why it's happened, and where it's happened. This is one of the biggest stories in world football for a long, long time. So, the next game, we're sitting on an entire tour, an entire continental tour, 2 months, after the Bristol and the village of Polster Trophy Skywood. That's coming up next year on Frank George Express.
So, what was that sound called? That's Rise Guy. No, what's on the gazes? No, sorry, the sorry prizes. That Prize Guy? No, sorry, quick make a take to the car, soon get the ground. That Prize Guy? What's that? Today's sponsoring cars, tech and cash for as little as £2p per entry. Just search That Prize Guy online. It's easy really, but not as far as remembering the name. Over 18 only, your purchase necessary. See website for details. Hey, has your own been looking at new Ford vans recently? Yeah, we're talking about 26 by Ford Transit Custom on the school. Tell me about it. You just think you're going electric. In an all-electric Ford E-Transit Courier, I bet I'll offer a test drive right now. Sometimes it's time for something new. And you'll upgrade lights at Transport with 0% APR and customer savings available. Order a new 26 play today. Visit your local Ford dealership or visit transport.co.uk. Is it frustrating? Smooth, but you're right. You could be paying too much tax. Tax for that showing deserve tax. The trouble with your sites or buying trees. So we may be able to money by HMRC. Rate tax refunds help people get the money back. On average, over £3,000 back. Get the ball rolling. Search Rift Tax Refunds. Search Rift Tax Refunds today. What makes a good bet? A virgin bet. We think it's a simple bet, a responsible bet, a last-minute winner when you're down to 10 men kind of bet with generous offers. A bet that puts sport first. Sound like your kind of bet? Then you're ready to get started. Sign up and new members get £30 in free sports bets when you bet £10. Virgin Bet, a good bet. £10 sports bet settled in first 14 days. 1.5 minimum odds. Free bets valid 7 days. T's and C's and deposit exclusions apply. Bet responsibly. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
He's going mad for it in Manchester. He's moved up to be on Merseyside and he's having a knees happy North London. Celebrate football's most iconic rivalries with Durham's derbies on TalkSport with Village Hotels. Join roving reporter Harry Durham as he travels to the pub and grill at Village Hotels across the UK on local derby days. Hear Durham's dispatches from the fans front line only on the Superstar Breakfast tomorrow morning. Durham's derbies on TalkSport with Village Hotels. Dine out, stay, work out, play.
Coming soon, the 2026 FIFA World Cup, live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Stand by for excitement producing, adrenaline-inducing, era-defining radio. The 2026 FIFA World Cup starts this June on TalkSport and TalkSport 2.
Welcome back. I want to remind you about Colchester. Given all the controversy about the under or overrating of Neymar in the past week or so, and on which side I stand, I thought they were neutral for this poll. We've done a poll for you. Which of these players was better in their prime? In their prime, Neymar, Sadio Mane, Eden Hazard, or Angel Di Maria? So you get to vote for Neymar, Mane, Hazard, or Di Maria. It's an X poll, a Twitter poll. So go to @TalkSport, that's Danny Kelly Words, or @Andy Brassell, 2 S's and 2 L's, to vote in that poll. Get your votes in now. No doubt he'll let off to quickly about whether Neymar is creeping towards the World Cup or creeping out of it. Meanwhile, speaking of big international tournaments, the controversy, the diplomatic incident, and the groaning about what's happening with AFCON, where Senegal have been denied their title by a board set up by the IMF itself, and the title run as far back as January has been handed to the host. Morocco continues to face it. To try and find out what exactly is going on here, the reasons for it, the reaction of the rest of world football, and not yet exactly return to the South Africa.
confidence that's going to be missed by Jackie Deans. Saturday walked off for a long period of time. Over you, Diaz famously took a penalty on Lister. Saturday went down to win the trophy, and in the immediate aftermath, Morocco appealed, and this appeal has taken 2 months. And the review rule was the Netherlands that a properly walker is approved to go right to like 2 months without getting into the detail. Basically says, if you look up for a period of time, you can go forfeit the game through the walk and walk over the deck with Morocco, and it's a little bit of primary walk. So it's not the victory goes to Senegal, but the legal one goes to the left, and then Senegal goes
is you can't go back and rewrite the decision-making
the big points in this final decision as to who actually wins that fight over politics. But obviously, if you look at it and put the pieces of the puzzle together, Selmay's outrage was not just about disallowed game followed by a penalty. It was about the state of officiating. It was about what they perceived to be a hostile environment. So the last way which is argued there for host nation, it's supposed to be like that. And you are mitigating home advantage, but a little bit. So it's fascinating because this very case has two aspects. The first is who wins access, and the second is much bigger. It's political. It's the very reputation in many ways at stake, and that's why it's lose-lose. Because if it goes back to Senegal, a lot of people will have thought, but if it goes back to Senegal, what's happened in this process over the last 2 months? And that's undermined tax, when in many ways tax are in a weaker position if that's Senegal's very strong position as part of our people who may be deemed to have followed a very fair process with the right legal outcome, even if many people think it's more particular outcome. But that's not good for people, because people will ultimately be decided on for the day and not legally capable, or at least in this kind of context. Thank you for that. I guess if there are 2 weeks, I'll finish off by saying, one, the general is the Federation of the Public Partnership Bill, with European governments, and I also have a big one actually to that, the European Secretary. And I guess secondly, that in terms of a whole period of gaps affected the employees, there will be anyone or any gun that is controversial to appeal against it, up to the others, or appeal against primary policy things, make it stick. I think it's a really sad day for international football, and nothing against Morocco if they've got, because of course, if they'd filled their penalty, they wouldn't be going on about any of this, but they didn't. And so we go. Thanks to Ben Jacobs, as always, for bringing us the very latest on these stories. We'll follow that, of course, when that goes to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And next here on Trans Europe Express, we will turn the eye of Sauron onto the Bundesliga.
Sally, what was that sound called? That wise guy. No, what's a fugazi? No, Sally, the prizes. That prize guy? No, Sally, not meat and potato, the cars, 250 grand cash. That prize guy? What's that? Sally, to win cars, tech and cash for as little as 2p per entry, just search that prize guy online. It's easy really, the hardest part is remembering the name. Over 18 only, no purchase necessary. See website for details.
At AJ Bell, we believe investing is for everyone, even people who know nothing about investing. Like Keith, who thought dividends were a boy band. Jessica, who thought compound interest was a prison dating app. And Sue thought FTSE 100 was a bit of under-the-table fun, which surprised her accountant. If we can make investing feel good for them, it's no wonder which have recommended us 8 years running. AJ Bell, feel good investing. The value of your investments can go up or down.
I can get my home insurance from just £133. They've made it easy for me to get a great price. And their 24/7 emergency helpline lets me look after what matters to me, because insurance is simple, and it's free and no
Delicious
Going back last last week, which was his first goal for the first team. He got started on the win, of course. And so he's committed his future to doing. He celebrated